As we had said a while ago, when Cosmic Fury was released, we were going to analyze all the episodes one by one, and now we are going to start with the first episode. This episode is basically the beginning of the end, since it is the first episode of the last season of this stage of Power Rangers. We had previously seen the beginning of this first episode, and everything started with a lot of energy in the great battle that they promised us at the end of Dino Fury. In this great battle we were able to meet the main villains of this season, and the first is obviously Lord Zedd, who was also one of the villains of the previous seasons. The other main villain is Bajillionaire, the director of the largest weapons corporation in the galaxy, and her entire physique is like a squid. Along with this villain there is also her daughter Squillionaire, who is an alleged 218-year-old girl with the personality of a millionaire teenager who only cares about social networks. In my opinion, she has been one of the worst villains I have seen in the entire history of Power Rangers, but if she had been a stock character, then it wouldn't matter. Being the main villain, then the character has a responsibility to create evil, just as her mother and Lord Zedd do. In this battle we can see that all the Morphin Masters are there, and they are helping the Rangers stop Lord Zedd's army. We then got to see Billy's arrival at the battle, and Ollie can't believe this Ranger is helping them. Then we can also see the appearance of Mick, who was turned into a rock, but had to transform because his hair was burning. One of the first questions we all had was quickly answered, and that is Billy telling Ollie that the Mighty Morphin team was on the ground out of signal range. Remember that Billy keeps traveling through space, so he could possibly have found out about this battle, but he couldn't contact the Mighty Morphin team. This excuse is a bit weak, but with this answer it already lets us know that we probably wouldn't see the rest of the Mighty Morphin team all season. This is a wasted opportunity, as it would have been awesome to have the franchise's first team helping the franchise's bottom team. Later we can see that Amelia shows Mick everything that had happened previously, and this was the best way to give us a summary of everything that happened in the previous season. Then they show us how the villains create their entire infinite army and what those giant drills are for. Each drill uses the energy of each planet to create the soldiers, and in this way, they have many soldiers without effort. Lord Zedd gave us one of the best moments of this episode, and we were all waiting to see him fighting the Rangers again. With this we were able to see again how powerful he is, but I would have liked to see him fight with the Morphin Masters and not just against the Rangers. Because there were many monsters, the Rangers decided to use the key to open portals and send some monsters to other parts of space. Although this seemed like an excellent idea, it causes Zedd to get lost in space, but before this happens, one of Lord Zedd's monsters throws a blue poison at the Rangers. This poison does not cause damage to most of the team because it was specifically created to harm Ollie. From this moment on, Ollie joins the forces of evil and becomes one of the main villains of the season. It is at this moment that Ollie activates the portal and Lord Zedd sends Zedd into space. After this something important happens, and that is that the Red Morphin Master stops to talk to Mick to give him the powers of the Red Ranger. Then we see that Scrozzle arrives with one of the most powerful weapons we have seen in the entire history of the franchise, an energy cannon that can trap the Morphin Masters. This weapon will be very important for the end of the season, so we must keep an eye on that. The villains begin to catch all the Morphin Masters, but Red finds it very difficult to catch, and before this happens, Red manages to launch his staff towards Javi. The Black Ranger manages to see an important place that apparently the Morphin Masters want them to go there, so all the Rangers gather and teleport to that place. When the Rangers arrive at that place, Mick realizes that this is the famous Zordnia altar and says that it was precisely what they were looking for before the battle began. Very powerful blue rays are falling on this altar and the Rangers are very scared. Meanwhile, Ollie and Squillia are in one of the drill-shaped ships to start looking for the Rangers, and they quickly manage to find them. Billy mentions that it is on this planet that his team found the Shogun Zords many years ago, but Mick also says that there is a rumor of a group of ancient Zords called the Cosmic Fury Zords, and no one had been able to prove their existence. At that moment, Ollie arrives and turns the ship into a giant robot to start attacking the Rangers. Out of desperation, Javi grabs the staff and inserts it into the hole of the altar, but unfortunately, this causes him to lose his arm due to all the energy this unleashes. Thanks to this sacrifice of Javi, the Zords manage to free themselves, and we have another answer to a very important question that we all had. These Zords are autonomous, meaning they control themselves and can do everything themselves. It's like having living Zords, but despite this, they can also be controlled by the Rangers. Because Javi begins to go into shock, Mick takes him to the command center so the Rangers can begin the battle. The Rangers transform and each choose a Zord, although Amelia says that she should choose the Lion because it is the center of the Megazord and they need it. Although on this occasion the Rangers combine their colors with those of the Zords, at other times we will realize that no Ranger has a specific Zord. The Rangers also realize that they can pilot the other Zords remotely, meaning that they can control the other Zords from the same Zord they are piloting. Now the Rangers manage to form the Cosmic Fury Megazord for the first time and the battle begins. Then we can see one of the great abilities that this Megazord has, and that is that its limbs can be exchanged to use different attack modes. The Rangers try to scare Ollie into giving up, so they prepare a mega attack, but Ollie doesn't want to give up. Because of this, Amelia teleports to Ollie's ship to try to convince him and switches his Zord to remote mode. The best way Amelia finds to take Ollie is by using the key to put the opponent to sleep, and with this she manages to teleport Ollie to the command center. Then the Rangers manage to destroy the giant robot, but they realize that many ships are reaching the planet's orbit. On one of those ships was Lord Zedd along with the other villains, and when he found out that Ollie had lost, they changed the ship's course towards Earth. In the command center we can see that all the Rangers are gathered accompanied by Tariq and Amelia's grandfather. From here we begin to see Amelia's leadership as everyone recaps everything that has happened so far and the possible invasion they face. At the end, we can see Billy, who was trying to analyze the situation with Javi's arm, but we also saw Ollie's mother checking on her son. They both begin to encourage the Rangers and tell them that this is a challenge they can overcome, but today is just the beginning. Let's analyze everything that happened in the second episode of Cosmic Fury, and I can tell you that something very interesting happens here. The episode begins with Billy and Solon taking the measurements of Javi's other arm, since we know that he lost an arm in the previous episode. From the first images of Cosmic Fury, we saw Javi's new arm, and all the fans wanted to know the reasons for this new robotic arm. After seeing what happened, many fans were angry because they felt that this was not necessary. Many have even said that he could have Morphin, possibly he would not have lost his arm. The producer of the series had commented that he has worked with disabled people, and this was supportive of them. I don't remember the exact words the producer said, as it was a Twitter post and he left that social media for a while, so we can't get the post. Although Billy and Solon want to do everything they can help Javi, he is very sad as he needs his arm to play the guitar and make all his music. Later, we can see that Lonnie, Amelia, and Solan try to save Ollie using the same antidote they had created the last time he was under Lord Zedd's spell. Meanwhile, Ian talks to Mick to keep looking for Zyto all over space since he is the one who has the most knowledge about the galaxy and has contacts everywhere. In Ian's cafeteria, the Green Ranger tries to talk to her father without revealing her identity to tell him that they should prepare for a potential invasion. In this place we also got to see Jane and Jayborg, both of whom were eating and started saying some silly ideas. This gave a bit of comedy to the episode, but it wasn't forced or drawn out, which was always a big downer in Power Rangers episodes. This was even one of the things that the producer promised before the premiere of Cosmic Fury, as he had said that we were not going to have mandatory comedy duos, and it was apparently, previously, mandatory for every season to have a comedy duo. Later we can see that Lord Zedd is on his ship along with the other main villains, and here we can see that despite not having mandatory comedy duos, Squillia is the silly comedy of the whole season. Like many young girls with a lot of money, she also wants to be a social media content creator, so she is always recording everything with her phone. This causes the villains to lack the seriousness to come across as a real threat and makes everything they do seem like a joke. Obviously, we know this is still a children's series, and this is why they make the monsters not so evil. We then see that the same monster that had thrown the poison towards the Rangers that turned Ollie into a villain, calls Lord Zedd to ask him for a chance since he had fired him. Lord Zedd decides to give him a chance because if that monster manages to destroy the Rangers, then Lord Zedd will destroy him, and he will take credit for what happens to the Rangers. At the command center, Ollie wakes up, and although Lonnie and Amelia at first think he is cured, they quickly discover that he is still evil. Ollie tries to take off his mother's bracelet so he can teleport out of there, but Amelia stops him and manages to lock him up. Due to all the hatred Ollie feels, he destroys everything inside the room, and Amelia and Lonnie are still confused trying to find another solution. In another scene later we can see that Izzy and Fern are together putting all their luggage in the car since they are leaving together for college. From this moment we can see that Fern is already wearing orange clothes, something that has always happened in Power Rangers. Each Ranger always wears their color. Fern asks Izzy about her adventures as a Ranger, but Izzy thinks she shouldn't tell her everything so as not to worry her, so she just tells her a few things, and Fern gets very excited. Even though Izzy promised Fern that her job as a Ranger wouldn't stop her from traveling to college together, at that moment she gets a call from Solan to go to the command center. Then at the command center, Billy informs the Rangers that there is a giant ship heading straight for Earth, and they think it must be Lord Zedd. The Rangers start planning that maybe they can battle it out in space so that the Earth is not damaged, and at that point Javi enters the conversation. He admits that he can't help the team and doesn't want to basically be a liability, but Amelia tells him to take all the time he needs to recover. Because of this, Billy decides to join the team to help them and says that he is honored to be part of a younger team, although at that point Ian tries to clarify that he belongs to the older team, which becomes a joke. The Rangers travel into space with the Zords and begin to realize that it doesn't seem to be Lord Zedd on that ship. After receiving a call from the monster on the ship, the Rangers confirm that it is not Lord Zedd and begin to form the Megazord. After several attacks, the Rangers prepare the final attack and then explode the giant ship along with the monster that turned Ollie into a villain. Then we can see the image that we had seen in the official trailer that they had released some time ago and that we debated about who controlled all those Zords. Now we know that all those Zords are autonomous, so they control themselves, and the Rangers can also control them from other Zords. Back at the command center we can see that Solan was able to finish Javi's new robotic arm and they are starting to test it. They quickly realize that Javi is unable to control the arm, and this causes him to throw the device Solan had towards a forbidden button. He then pushes Izzy, who almost touches the button, but Ian manages to grab her in time. Solan clarifies that the button hasn't been pressed in 65 million years, but we'll soon find out what the button does. Amelia and Lena have an experiment to help Ollie and they must use the energy from the statue outside, so they need all the help they can get. On the villain's ship they learn that the Rangers destroyed the other ship, so Lord Zedd orders them to find the Rangers' command center. Outside the command center, Izzy uses a key to make that whole place invisible so Lena can work safely. Ian and Billy stay outside the invisibility field so they can take on anyone who wants to interfere, and we already know Lord Zedd's soldiers are nearby. Billy steps forward and starts fighting Zedd's soldiers, but Ian realizes that Fern is also nearby. Izzy can't defend Fern, so Javi offers to help her even though he knows he's not ready yet since Amelia must stay inside the command center to complete the experiment. Javi manages to help Fern and then helps Amelia to take Ollie outside to complete the experiment. Despite completing the experiment, this causes the Rangers to suffer a severe blow and the invisibility field is destroyed. Because of this, Zedd's soldiers manage to find the Rangers' command center and at that moment Lord Zedd arrives. At that moment, he takes the opportunity to destroy all the statues that give power to the Rangers except Ollie's because he stops him and swears loyalty to him. To prove this loyalty, Ollie throws his sword at Amelia and manages to hurt her face. All the Rangers lock themselves in the command center and Lord Zedd calls for a drill ship to destroy the whole place. At that moment, the Rangers decided to press the forbidden button and now we can see that its function was to transport the entire command center to another place. The Rangers appear on the planet Eridus, a planet that is 30 million light years away from Earth, and they must start planning what they are going to do from that place. Then they realized that they had forgotten that Fern was inside the command center, so now it has become a bit more complicated. Episode number 3 begins on planet Eridus and for the first time we get to see the command center from the outside. I must say that this design has been one of the best I have seen for a command center that is basically also a spaceship. All the details it has are excellent and we know that this is also created with special effects, so we must admire all the texture details. Inside this command center we can see Javi trying to play the guitar again, but we realize that he no longer has the delicacy to be able to do it, besides the little control he has of his new arm. In the other room are Billy, Ian, and Amelia trying to repair the morphers while Billy tells his stories of the past to show the Rangers that sometimes power is lost and can also be recovered. Amelia asks him if he has any ideas and Billy tells her that his abilities don't compare at all to the Morphin Masters, but he's going to take care of it. Remember that the last time the Rangers ran out of powers, it was the Morphin Masters themselves who gave those powers back to him by rebuilding the statues. The Rangers get the idea to place the antenna that Zyto used to communicate with Rafkon outside to try to communicate with Earth, but Ian is frustrated and Amelia asks him to go cook so he can calm down. Then we can see that Javi destroyed his guitar strings and Billy tells him that he will help him, but he must tell him when they are tuned. In another room we can see Izzy and Fern, both of whom find the plans for the command center and realize that they are plans to turn it into a spaceship. Ian is upset because he can't find anything to cook, so he decides to join the Rangers to go outside to look for food while they put up the antenna. Fern wanted to join the Rangers, but Izzy is too scared and asks him to stay inside the command center since they won't be able to protect her. Billy begins to realize that the Red Morphin Master's staff may be an energy conductor, so this may help him connect the Rangers to the grid somehow. Outside the command center, the Rangers are setting up the antenna, while Ian continues to gather food, and then the danger begins. Ian finds giant eggs and suddenly one of those eggs hatches. The egg belonged to some kind of giant worm that starts attacking Ian, and Ian accidentally throws it into the food. After eating everything, it turns into a very big monster which is still hungry, and Amelia together with Ian start to confront it. Although the Rangers now have no powers, they can still use weapons, so they both summon them to fight the monster. Javi begins to help the Rangers fight the monster and uses his arm to give it a strong blow that sends it far away. With this, he realizes that his arm is very strong and explains why it is not difficult for him to control it. With the antenna connected, the Rangers are able to tune into Buzz Blast and begin to see all the disaster that is happening on Earth. From here we start to hear that many Power Rangers teams are fighting around the world, but unfortunately something was affecting their Zords. Lord Zedd had created a force field all over the Earth that affects the Zords, so the Rangers couldn't travel to Earth, even though they get new powers to pilot their Zords. Then we can see that Ollie starts to trick his mother, and she shows him a message from Mick which says that he managed to find Zyto's energy trail on a planet called Lavina. Ollie shows his real plan to his mother, which is to find Zyto first so that the Rangers can also reach that planet and he can destroy them. At the command center, Amelia had to talk to Ian as he is very desperate for his friend Zyto, and she gives him some words to cheer him up. Later the Rangers realize that the monster is back, so they must confront him before he hurts the command center. Billy can't help them as he is still locked up somewhere else working with the new Morphers, so the Rangers must face this monster without the Morphin. Ian realizes that the monster is chasing him since his apron smells like food, so he starts using it to confuse it. Then he looks for the food and a bicycle in the command center to make the monster chase him and get him away from that place. On Lord Zedd's ship, we can see some monsters dancing to record a video for social media, something that reminds us a lot of the typical TikTok dances. Ollie arrives and shows Lord Zedd Mick's video, but then Zedd asks Scrozzle to give the gift to Ollie. At that moment we can't see the gift, but later we can see it, and now Ollie asks Lord Zedd to give him a team to accomplish the mission, but he only gets the group of monsters that were dancing for the video. In the command center, the Rangers celebrate because they were able to get the monster away, and now it won't come back because they repaired the ventilation in the kitchen so that the smell wouldn't come out. At that moment, Billy arrives with some kind of mechanism that uses the Morphin Master's staff to connect the new Morphers to the grid. At this moment, we can see that there are 6 Morphers, basically one for each Ranger, which includes Amelia, Javi, Izzy, Ollie, Ian, and Zyto. Then Billy answers a question that many fans had before the premiere of the series, and they wanted to know why the Morphers had the head of a dinosaur if it was going to be a cosmic power. The answer was very simple, and that is that basically Billy wanted to stick with the dinosaur theme because it felt right. I think Billy did too, because of the fact that the Mighty Morphin team also uses some dinosaurs, so this makes it feel familiar. The new Morphers quickly connect to the Rangers' teleporters, so they basically automatically connect to the Rangers and their connection to the grid. This is why the Morphers automatically teleport to each Ranger's arm, and it is the first time we can see these Morphers in the series with all the special effects. When this Morpher was revealed in the photos published by the producer of the series, it was something incredible for all the fans, and no one can deny that they look amazing. These are the first original Power Rangers morphers, and this is why they are the only ones with the franchise logo. Billy explains to the Rangers that he was able to use the residual energy from the Dino Keys to create these morphers, but since no one understands the whole explanation, he prefers to show them how they work. He then turns on the machine so that the staff opens the grid, and this causes new keys to be created in the form of spheres. These spheres are the new connection to the grid and basically do the same job as the Dino Keys did. The spheres must be connected to the morpher, and with this the Rangers can access the grid to morph. Each Ranger receives a sphere, but Solon holds 2 of these spheres since one is supposed to be for Zaido and the other for Ollie. Billy explains that they must open the lid and put the orb or sphere in the morpher for everything to work. After this we can see the first Morphin of the new cosmic power and the last new Morphin of Power Rangers history. The 4th episode starts on planet Lavina, and I must say that I really liked the design that they have given to outer space. You have to remember that all these planets and space are created in CGI, and although it looks easy to do it, it really isn't. This is the planet that Mick had told the Rangers that Zaido is possibly on, although Mick hasn't really found him yet as he only feels his energy there. We can already see that there are 2 of Lord Zedd's ships, and Ollie is going to start the search together with the dancing monsters. Although these monsters are willing to fight, they have made it clear that their priority is still dancing and doing the steps well. This is the little comedy they have introduced to Cosmic Fury, and I think it is the comedy that Power Rangers should have had from the start, as it is not forced. One of these monsters finds a supposed scarf under a rock, but Ollie realizes it's not a scarf and it's not a real rock either. Mick had turned himself into a rock, just as he did in the first episode, and was holding a piece of Zaido's clothes. At that moment, the Rangers arrive along with the Zords, which destroys one of the enemy ships, and now the Rangers must free Mick. Now we can see the gift that Lord Zedd had given to Ollie, and it is a new modified morpher which has the blue color. I must say that Ollie's new costume looks amazing, and for me it has been one of the best Ranger villain costumes I have seen. Then the Rangers do the new transformation, and Ollie can't believe what he is seeing as he didn't know about the new powers. Another thing that really surprised him is that Amelia is the new Red Ranger, something that was very similar to the reaction of many fans when they found out as well. Another important thing is that Ollie is also upset because the Rangers have new weapons, and this is going to be important for the following episodes. The battle begins, and we get to see the first trick Amelia can do with that super hammer as she hits the ground to create a line of explosions. Then we can also see one of the functions that the new morpher has, and that is that Izzy uses it as a blaster. Now we see one of the scenes that we had seen in the previews, and it is when Javi destroys one of the monsters with his new axe. If you notice, the axe fills with energy and manages to destroy the monster, which had previously said that the axe was very sharp. In this episode we are seeing the use of all the weapons, so now we see Izzy throwing his 2 daggers as if they were boomerangs and manages to destroy all the sentinels along with the monster. The last weapon we see at that moment is Ian's, and he manages to create a strong shot that destroys the monster easily. After losing almost all the monsters and sentries, Ollie flees the place. Now Mick guides the Rangers to the place where Zaido crashed when he fell on this planet, and we can see that his sword is destroyed. The Rangers begin to follow all the clues that Zaido has left behind, but we also realize that Ollie never left the planet and is now following the Rangers. Little by little the Rangers realize that there is something wrong with the forest, but then we can realize that the forest is alive because the monster that accompanies Ollie is trapped by the branches of the trees. Amelia starts using telepathy with a tree and realizes that the entire planet is connected. Then that same tree shows them what Zaido's arrival on the planet was like, which was protected by another tree while he was healing, and the Rangers must now search for that tree. At that moment, Ollie attacks the Rangers, which upon falling, destroys some plants, and this makes the forest very angry. Ollie takes this opportunity to start looking for the tree where Zaido is, but the Rangers use their telepathy to communicate with the forest and tell him who the real enemy is. The Rangers notice the enemy's ships, so Ian goes ahead to look for Zaido while the Rangers go to use their Zords and ask Mick to join them. Because of this, Ollie activates the ship's battle mode, which turns it into a giant robot, and meanwhile, Ian manages to find the tree. This tree has a bright light and Ian pulls Zaido out of the tree. Ian tries to wake Zaido up, then uses his telepathy to try to talk to him in his thoughts, but realizes that he can't connect with him, and at that moment, Zaido wakes up. Ian thanks the forest for saving Zaido, and suddenly the forest starts talking, telling Zaido to enjoy the time he has left. Although Ian has some suspicions that something is not right with Zaido, Zaido dodges his questioning by telling him other things to calm him down. The other Rangers are in the Zords, and here we can realize again that the Rangers can use any Zord regardless of color. Now, the Rangers manage to combine the Zords and create the Megazord to start the new battle against Ollie's giant robot. Even though Mick is a Ranger, his personality hasn't changed and he remains a joke on the team after trying to make an attack with his Zord, but it all went wrong. We then get to see a big attack from the shark that Izzy controls, something quite interesting as we wasted a lot of time debating about the color of this Zord and who was going to control it. Ollie escapes again, and the Rangers take the opportunity to destroy the giant robot with a mega cosmic ray. Ian breaks the news to the other Rangers that he was able to find Zaido, and now they are both in the Zord together. Something interesting also happens, and that is that Mick borrows the Zord from the Rangers so he can go to their planet since they need a Red Ranger there. At the command center, something necessary happens. Amelia receives Zaido's blessing to be the new Red Ranger, and he tells her that it looks right since she held the team together as a Red Ranger leader does. Zaido admires the new Ranger outfits and also tells Javi that he likes the new arm, which he tells him he just has to remember to grease it. Billy tells Zaido that he didn't forget about him, so he gives him his new morpher along with the orb that connects it to the grid. Zaido connects his orb to the morpher using the word T-Rex, but despite this its color changes and we can see that the orb has a yellow-like color. This time we don't see the entire Morphin sequence, but now we see Zaido's new costume for the first time in the season. The most incredible thing is that the Morphin Master's staff flies towards Zaido and the Rangers don't understand what is happening. Zaido finishes his moves by saying T-Rex Fury, Zenith Ranger, and now we see the last special ranger in all of Power Rangers history. Javi says he likes the new color, but they never say the name of this color. So this has become a bit of a social media dilemma since no one knows the actual name of that color. Then, Billy asks him about the new name Zenith, and Zaido tells him that's what the Morphin Masters called it when they brought it back. Then, Ian starts telling Amelia about all the suspicions he has about Zaido, but Amelia doesn't think there's anything wrong. On planet Elter we can see that a ship is creating Lord Zedd's new palace, and in the main room is the Morphin Master's energy-filled cylinder, as well as the statue that gives Ollie his power. Zordon is mentioned for the first time in this season, and Lord Zedd says that he would have liked him to be alive to see his people perish. Episode 5 begins on planet Eridus in the Rangers Command Center, which is watching Buzz Blast's reports about everything that is happening on Earth. Lord Zedd's army created a prison to lock up all those who resisted, and although all the ranger teams tried to stop this army, they have not been able to. All over the world there are prisons like this, and the other ranger teams are already locked up. The Cosmic Rangers begin to analyze everything that is happening and what are the best ways to attack Lord Zedd. Then they start to hear a sound, and it is Javi creating music in another room. The song Javi is creating is about Lord Zedd and his viciousness. Ian gets very upset because Javi has damaged some pans, and we know that Ian likes to cook. Some rangers don't really like the style of music Javi is using, but Fern says she used to play music too and likes what Javi is doing. Then the rangers get a message from Mick, who had sent them a report that features the owner of the company that is helping Lord Zedd and mentions that they managed to dig up a dragon Zord. The villains want to awaken this Zord so that Ollie will be the one to control it, and so Zedd's troops will be stronger. Billy says he remembered seeing a drawing of a dragon Zord in the Temple of Zordnia, so this Zord possibly broke away from hundreds of years ago. The Rangers start planning to retrieve this Zord before the villains awaken it, and Zydo says he can awaken it with the staff of the Morphin Masters. Unfortunately, there are a lot of Lord Zedd sentries in that place, so the Rangers must get there undetected, and Javi comes up with the idea of disguising themselves as a rock band. In the report that Mick had sent, the villains had said that they were going to interview a rock band. This means that the monsters like that music, and so the Rangers are going to pretend to be a rock band to distract everyone while Zydo wakes up the Zord. Because Ollie can quickly figure out that they are the Rangers by the amount of people inside the band, Fern offers to be part of the band, and besides, she also knows how to play music. Although Izzy doesn't like the idea, she has no choice and must agree to let Fern go with them to help them. The Rangers arrive at the excavation where the monsters are and manage to fool the guards at the entrance with the excuse of being a rock band. Then the Rangers start the heavy rock concert, and the monsters start to get distracted. Zydo is hiding among the monsters, and Ollie starts complaining about Bajilia for showing the new Zord on TV. A monster warns Ollie about the rock concert, and Ollie begins to suspect that something is not right. Ollie discovers that these fake monsters are the Rangers, and Zydo takes advantage of this distraction to wake up the Zord. Previously, Ollie had been upset that the Rangers had new weapons, so he asked Scrozzle to make a weapon for him, and now we see Ollie's new weapon. This weapon basically looks like a blaster, although the top of it appears to have arrows. The Rangers begin the transformation and use their new weapons as if they were musical instruments, plus they get confetti at the end as if it were a celebration. The battle begins, and we can see that Amelia's super hammer keeps hitting hard all over the place. I must say that having given new different weapons to each Ranger was the best idea, and, in these battles, we can enjoy the essence of each of them, giving us a show. Fern is still hiding until Ollie realizes it, but he thinks it's Zydo and wants to find out. Ollie thinks that Zydo has not transformed because he is weak after being inside a tree, but when he removes his mask, he realizes that it is Fern. Because of this, he understands that Zydo must be trying to wake up the Zord, but he starts attacking Fern before he leaves, and she manages to dodge the attacks. Ollie is too late as Zydo manages to wake up the Zord and is now transported inside it. Ollie takes the opportunity to put a tracker on the Zord before Zydo takes it away, and now Bajilia starts giving orders to her sentries so they can intercept Zydo before he goes any further. Two monsters wait for Zydo on the moon of that planet, and he asks the Rangers for help, but before that the Rangers must destroy Zedd Sentinels. Ian shows another of the tricks that his new weapon has, and that is that it can create an attack with a lot of water, which causes the monsters to leave the place. On the moon, Zedd manages to destroy the monsters, and we must say that the attacks of this new Zord are impressive. Despite this, Bajillia shows up with the ship turned into a giant robot to claim the Zord that she says belongs to her, but the Rangers show up with the Megazord to help Zedd. Fern is excited to be inside a Zord for the first time, and despite Izzy telling her not to touch any buttons, she accidentally presses a button that summons the wolf remotely. The Megazord along with the Cosmic Dragon Zord prepare a powerful final attack, and Bajillia takes the opportunity to escape, but leaves the Sentinels stranded on the ship. The Rangers launch the final super attack and manage to destroy the robot easily for a Cosmic Fury victory. Then the Rangers start talking about everything that happened, and Javi mentions that Ollie didn't compliment him on the song he did about Lord Zedd, but Ian says he likes the original better as everyone starts singing it. I must admit that I really like this song and would like to listen to it several times. Now the Rangers arrive at the command center as Billy gives them the news that they have managed to turn the command center into a spaceship, and now it is ready for the final test. Solon tells them that if the ship works then they can return to Earth, but he also informs them that they have received an encrypted message from Earth, and this message is from Tariq, which tells Amelia that her mother is about to give birth. He also tells the Rangers that the inhabitants of Rafcon have created a resistance to defend the land, and that they have a spy infiltrating Lord Zedd's army. This spy discovered that the force field that disables the Zords on Earth is connected to all of Zedd's ships, so, if they destroy one ship, then the entire shield is disabled. The Rangers begin planning their journey to Earth to help Tariq, and now they must begin testing the new ship. On planet Elter, Lord Zedd is very angry about everything that happened with the Dragon Zord, but Scrozzle says it's not his fault because he was tied up and buried for 3 hours. Squillia starts talking about her new possible boyfriend, and her mother gets excited since she didn't know anything, so her daughter shows her the pictures of this person. Surprisingly, this person is Hekel, who comes from the Dino Charge season and is now possibly Tariq's spy. Ollie arrives with a new monster ally and says that because he put a tracker on the new Zord, he already knows that the Rangers are in Eritis. The new monster knows everything about this planet, and that's why Ollie brings him as an ally. This monster knows a lot about this planet because the beasts there ate his pets, and now, he wants revenge. Ollie plans to destroy the Rangers in order to steal all the Zords, and Lord Zedd gives the order to destroy them.